everybody. Thanks for joining us for this IAB Europe webinar today. We're just going to wait one more minute for all of the attendees to join. So to this second webinar showcasing the winners of our 2015 Research Awards. I'm Alison Fenner, I'm Executive Business Advisor at IAB Europe, and I'm going to host you during this session. So this is the fourth year of the IAB Europe Research Awards, which is designed to recognise and celebrate the contribution made to the development of the industry by innovative research projects. Webinar shares the winning case studies from the multi-screen audience measurement and use of research budget categories. A couple of months ago, we had a webinar for the categories of advertising effectiveness, video, mobile, and social media. And you can back and download those presentations or access the link to the recording from our website. Each year we see an improvement in the quality and quantity of entries for the IAB Europe Research Awards, and we'd really like to thank everybody who participated and entered. Today's webinar is going to last about 45 minutes, 35 minutes for the presentations and a 10-minute Q&A. All of the case studies are going to be available on our website, and also you'll be able to share the link for the recording with your colleagues. So first off, let's take a moment to ensure that everybody's ready and familiar with the workings of our webinar control panel. So you first of all should see a control panel on the right-hand side of your screen. You minimize it by clicking on the double arrow in the upper left-hand corner of the panel, and expand it by clicking on the same button again. So take a moment to practice that. Note also that there is a chat panel and a Q&A panel. The chat panel is for technical issues and queries, and please submit any questions to me and I'll respond to those. You can submit questions for the speakers using the Q&A panel located near the bottom of the control panel. We'll answer questions live during the Q&A panel if we can, or bigger questions, we'll address those at the end of the presentation. So if you need help during the session, you can raise your hand by clicking the red exclamation mark icon just above the chat panel. So to be clear again, technical issues are submitted to the host via the chat panel and questions for the speakers via the Q&A panel. In today's webinar, we're going to show video with sound. Just to note that if you're only connected to your phone, obviously you won't be able to see the video. Please additionally connect via a PC and laptop. Ensure that your speakers are turned on with the laptop if you wish to see and hear the video. Now I'd like to introduce today's presenters and prize winners. So I'm delighted to introduce Attila Weiss, who's Business Development Director, Audience Research Solutions at INEOS. Jim Clark, who's Senior Project Manager, Market Research at United Internet Media, and Hannah Bewley, who is Senior Research Manager at IAB UK. First of all, we're going to start with the audience measurement category, and Attila, who's going to present GEMIUS Behavioural Panel Synthesis Project. Well, Attila, I'm now handing over to you.
Thank you for the great introduction. My name is Attila Weiss. I'm representing GEMIUS Digital Marketing Solutions and Research Company. I'm Business Development Director, as it was said before. And today I'm going to tell the story of a new methodology about cross-platform measurement, which we have developed in the last 1 year. The story started in Denmark, where our DMR has gotten into this topic of cross-platform measurement. We'll tell the story how it started. We'll tell the story what we delivered. By now, this methodology, behavioral panel synthesis, which delivers deduplicated cross-platform reach, is in 2 European markets. One is Denmark, and the other one is Belgium. So let's start with the challenge that we had. I'm not sure everyone has the same knowledge, so I'm just telling this very simple example. With the hybrid internet audience measurement, where you combine census and sample data, you have a very clear picture about traffic and profile of standalone platforms. Platforms meaning desktop, mobile, or tablet. Actually, the glue is missing. What is the total deduplicated reach of a single content in online media? Let it be a website, theme, or application content. We could tell with this simple hybrid internet audience measurement approach. This is exactly where our challenge started. Working with the Danish VMR, we were considering as a first option a source panel solution. Well, there were many problems with this idea. There's a high refusal rate, there's lack of stability in the panel. Panel size is a question. Of course, it's a very costly way of managing and building panel. So this option we didn't find satisfactory enough, so we didn't go for this option. Then we tried other multi-platform fusion, meaning based on social demographic patterns. Found when we tried this regular fusion methodology is that there's lack of correlation between demography and duplication. It's almost like shooting in the dark. Our results were coherent with random model, so we failed as well. Didn't deliver good results with a single source panel, neither with regular fusion. So we're considering and thinking about what to do now. How can we approach application across the 3 panels? The idea that we came up with was very exciting, considering combining single source solution with social graphic fusion, and on top of it, and most importantly, behavioral patterns of our panelists across the different platforms. And this third pointer, like behavioral patterns, is basically big data combined into declarative data of panelists. The way we started to think along, and it's the way you can see now on the screen. The way we do behavioral panel synthesis is that we take 2 panels of ours at one time. In this example, you can see we have a mobile panel of thousands of people in it. We have a PC panel with thousands, if not tens of thousands of people in it. And the goal here is to find duplication in these 2 panels. We want to tell if a website was visited by this person from PC and mobile, or were 2 different persons. The way to do it is very literal, I would say. If we take the mobile panel first, there are people who claim in a declarative way that they are using mobile only. There's no problem with these people because they are obviously not duplicated across mobile and PC. And this is true for those PC panelists in the blue circle who declare that they are using PC only. We can eliminate these people. We can be sure that they are not overlapping in two panels. The problem is with those people who claim that they are using both mobile and PC. You can see them in the middle of this chart in blue and in green circles. These are the panelists we need to deduplicate. The way we do the duplication is we use a small single source panel, which we call celebration panel. In the celebration panel, we learn patterns, how people know same people in both of the panels, so they are member of the mobile panel and the PC panel. We learn how they behave, we learn their behavioral patterns, and we teach our algorithm to find names in both mobile and PC panel, and this way we can deduplicate the two mobile panel and the PC panel, creating this pink circle in the middle. So of the green and the blue circle, we have one single deduplicated pink circle, creating three different panels, one for mobile phone users only, one PC users only, and one deduplicated panel, and we can just simply arithmetically add them up, add these three panels up, creating a total deduplicated platform. To go into some more details, this was a view what I have shown you now on the screen. Just to give more insights, to take an example of let's say 5 panelists in the chart, you can see that we collect devices related information, which panel the member of PC panel, tablet panel, or mobile panel. We know which devices they are using is declarative. We know their social demographic profile, again self-declarative, and we know an awful lot of amount of behavioral data. In this example, you can see Danish websites. You can imagine there are hundreds of Danish websites. In this matrix, horizontally you have thousands of panelists, vertically hundreds of websites. It's big data. It helps us to identify neighbors. How do we do that? In this example, you can see that 2 of the panelists same ID number, and indeed are identical. And but a female 45-year-old panelist who is a member of our PC panel and also a member of our tablet panel. For sure, not only for social demographic matching, but also we identify her via email address or other unique identifier, but most common email address. So we say that this female 45-year-old panelist, single source panelist, and we put her into our calibration panel. We found all these calibration panelists across the 2 that we select, that we will work on, and we examine how these calibration panelists behave. We consider, we examine positive patterns. For example, 456 panelists ID 456 on P, and panelists 456 on tablet or mobile. These are same people, so it's one person actually. So we examine his behavioral patterns across the many hundreds of websites. This is positive patterns, and we also examine calibration panel where we know that we take 2 panelists that are very different. So 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3. We know exactly that they are not the same people; they are very different. So we have negative patterns to examine. These positive patterns and negative patterns, we create a probability model to cut 2 panels from separate studies. The steps that we are taking, I'm not going to go into mathematical details, and it's also our method we will not reveal now here in this short session. The steps that we are taking in teaching our methodology from calibration panel, starting with metrical clustering along devices and social demographic patterns. Then we apply logistic regression, and as a final step, we merge nearest neighbors. This methodology, as I mentioned at the beginning, has already been rolled out in two countries, that's Belgium and Denmark, have gone through rigorous testing and analysis by local jigs in those two countries. And what we found is that the confidence interval that PS methodology is delivering we are within this confidence interval. If we compare the results to calibration panel-based results. Calibration panel-based results, we know that they're the same people, so the results are very much trustworthy. That's one important point or emphasize. And the second point is that it shows strong stability month by month. That it shows strong stability. We have a list of other markets that we are going through and analytics just before launching this official metrics in Turkey, Hungary, Czech Republic, and so forth. So this was a short summary of the behavioral panel synthesis. Again, if you want to take away one sentence, it's about the application of platform users with a very new and fresh methodology.
Thanks, Attila. That was a very clear presentation. Thank you. We're now going to hand over to Janine at Internet Media, who multi-screen category, and she's going to talk to us about multi-screen behavior. Welcome, Janine.
Hello, thank you for this opportunity to present a study. I'm Janine Klar from United Internet Media, and here I'm Senior Project Manager Market Research, and I'm responsible for ad effectiveness studies and also fundamental studies like the one I want to show you in the next minutes. Our study, A Peek into the Living Room, is about how the attention of the audience is distributed on several screens in multi-screen situations. Screens we examined were television, notebook, tablet, or smartphone. The study took place last year in April-May. We assigned a service provider for this called iSquare, and they were using eye tracking technology, and they examined 20 households. The focus was on 2 hours of media consumption, and the condition to take part in the study was that the households own at least 2 digital devices in addition to television. So we have here, we see the used technology on the left side. You can see the eye tracker the test persons were using. So someone from the service provider came into the households, explained everything to the test persons, and for the next 2 hours they were wearing this eye tracker. They have been alone. So the service provider left for 2 hours, and the test persons had a normal evening where the television was running. Eye tracker was recording their eye movement and also the whole field of view. But the test persons didn't have a certain task. So the thing was the television was running, and we observed how they are behaving regarding digital screens. The exact screens we were examining, you can see on the bottom right. As I told before, it was TV, notebook, tablet, and smartphone. Slide, we have the first key result. On the left side, we can see how the attention of the participants was distributed during the 2 hours in which the eye tracker was recording their eye movements. What we see is that the attention is almost evenly distributed to television and the online devices. So half the attention falls on TV and the other half on digital screens. There are 4 percentage points missing, up to 100%. In these cases, the test persons were looking at their partner or maybe at their dog or something like that. On that side, we have the situation during the TV commercial break. We recognize that there's much more of intensive use of the digital screens during the TV commercial break, in particular almost 70%. What we have here is how often the attention is changing between the several screens. On the left side, we can see that the attention is changing nearly twice a minute, averagely. On the right side, again, we have the situation during TV commercial break. And there we can see that the attention between the several screens changes around 4 times per minute, averagely. This is actually an opportunity for TV, but also for online advertisement to get the attention of the audience again and again. On the next slide, we have the mean use time per use. On the left side again, we can see, for example, that the participants were looking 32 seconds at the TV screen and, for example, 17 seconds on their notebook. Right side, we can see that the mean use time per use is much shorter for each screen during TV commercial break. What is very important for publishers here is that shorter attention spans mean at least that TV spots, but also online ads, need to be attention-getting. Here we have an overview of the number of contacts with advertisement, because the article was also tracking with how many TV spots, but also online ads, the participants have had contact. And we can see that on the television screen, the number of contacts is nearly 5 times higher than on digital screens. And because before we saw that the attention changes very often, you can see in this slide that there are hardly multi-screen. In particular, that means that in 95% of advertising contacts on television, that persons changed their attention during a TV spot to the digital screens. And this was our last result, and I hope that within this short time you could get an impression of our results that we gained with our study.
Thanks much, Janine. I'll hand over to Hannah from IAB UK, who's going to present the research that won the Best Use of Research Budget category. And this is IAB UK's Content and Native Consumer Research.
Hi,
Hannah.
Hi, Evan. Thanks for the opportunity to present this research. I'm Hannah Bewley and I work in the research department at IAB UK. This is research that we did at the end of last year, which was launched at the start of this year, and I'm going to give you a bit of background to the research and how we did it, followed by some information on the output. Firstly, a bit on the objectives. So, given the rapid rise in popularity of content and native marketing, there was a real need at the time to understand the issue of clarity and transparency around these formats. There was also a need to provide some industry guidance on the subject to ensure it is used responsibly and doesn't trick consumers, and we wanted this to be based on real consumer attitudes. So the intention behind the guidelines was to ultimately help us maintain a self-regulating industry, as well as to help ensure that content and native marketing maintains its quality. So in order to produce these guidelines, IAB UK commissioned research which allows us to get an insight into how consumers feel about content and advertising, and to identify the exact parameters for making it transparent and impactful. So I'm just going to show you a few highlights from the research and home video, and the guidelines which were produced by our regulatory affairs team be accessed on our site. So in terms of the methodology, we worked with 2CV, who are a qualitative search agency, and did qualitative workshops with 50 people in 3 locations, and it was accompanied by what we called an auto-ethnographic week-long task. And it was really important for us to understand how content and native advertising really fits into people's lives, and to avoid kind of overly rational responses. We were kind of conscious of the potential for consumers to simply dismiss the advertising, with allowing us to uncover more latent associations and nuances. So these workshops allowed us to set tasks in small groups, which helped everyone engage with the stimuli in a constructive way, so we could find out, exactly the positive or negative impacts and why exactly this was. So, we do have a video to play. If you're listening through your phone, if you could allow sound to come out of your laptop, because the sound for the video will only play out of your laptop and not the phone. So hopefully this will work okay.
So we're starting the recording now, and it should be with everybody in a second.
Alison. So hopefully that video played okay for everyone and wasn't too jumpy. We always find that when delivering this research, it's even more powerful when you can hear the consumers themselves talk about things in their own words. So we'll move on to the next slide. Overall, we found a kind of filter model for consumers engaging with content, and it really happens in a split second. It isn't a logical, thought-through process, but it showed that basically people decide to engage with content and native based on three overall filters. So firstly, how relevant it is to them. Is it personally relevant to them? Does it fit with the brand itself? Secondly, whether they'll derive value from it, as with other editorial content. Is one of three criteria, such as being informative, entertaining, or useful. And finally, and most importantly, the issue of clarity and transparency. So, in terms of clarity and transparency, assuming it's relevant and offers the reader some value, the content absolutely must be clear. Who is the author? Be clear the content is paid for, and without this, as the guy in the last video said, it can undermine trust in the brand. And the ingredients for spelling out clarity and transparency basically boil down to what we say is three basic ingredients. So firstly, the advertiser logo being very prominent, ideally at the top of the advertising. Secondly, clear labelling, such as sponsored by. We found that it doesn't necessarily have to be a certain combination of words within the label, just being able to see label present will signify to the reader that it is commercial content. And finally, clear visual demarcation, so things like boxing or colours that clearly make the content look visually different to the editorial content. And it was interesting to see that the visual cues are actually a better signpost to the consumers that it was commercial content, as we process visual cues a lot quicker than things that we have to read through. And that is a quick summary of the research, and I hope you found it useful. Thank you.
Thanks much, Hannah. So we've got time for a few questions amongst the panellists. So we're just going to unmute the panellists. First of all, I'm going to ask Janine a question. So, Dean, you mentioned that one of the things that you'd noticed was that the digital ads needed to be attention-getting as cross-screen context.
Yep.
Are there any? Could you want to expand on that, or are there any other recommendations you could give as well for advertisers in this on this topic?
I think the first thing that we can learn is that online and TV campaigns should be matched. On the one hand, matched maybe time-wise, like I'm thinking of online campaigns that are running in the prime time, when the TV campaign is running in the prime time, but on the other hand, content-wise. I think it's important that the target group is able to recognize, I have a campaign here which I saw before on television or before online, and that they can recognize that the look and feel is similar. And for example, for online campaigns, I can imagine a shorter version of the TV spot, or a combination of a shorter version of the TV spot static elements. That the target group is able to see or to recognize I have seen this ad before. And these are the learnings for us.
Thank you. And moving on to Attila, really again thinking about brand advertisers. What response have you had, Attila, from brand advertisers to behavioural panel synthesis? And also, what have you noticed them executing better campaigns? What features have you seen in the campaigns as a result?
The total deduplication help advertisers to better target their audiences, avoiding wastage across multi-platform environment. That's a very benefit from this. It's also beneficial for agencies who can plan in a more concise, more precise way. Publishers, on the other hand, will be able to monetize their full inventory with a new approach. Mobile, for example, and this is beneficial for both publishers, agencies, and advertisers. Mobile has been dealt as a silo so far when it comes to media planning and buying. Now that we have total deduplicated reach, mobile could be a real integral part of media planning and buying for advertising agencies alike. So that's a very top line benefit. And another one that I would like to mention is that methodology, this idea, could be extended not only for digital platforms like smart PC or tablet, but also classical media measurement, delocation audiences across media. Another R&D project that we are currently working on, by the way.
So yes, cross-media is something that is top of mind for everybody at the moment, and both Janine's project and your project really point to the importance of being able to target and engage with mobile users in the right way and getting right people also. So just lastly, coming to Hannah. Hannah, it's great to see a piece of research that has informed the making and delivering of industry guidelines. And obviously this is one of the more newer types of digital advertising in terms of thinking of responses to native and content marketing. Since the publication of the research and guidelines, how have you seen advertisers' approaches changing, or how do you think they might be changing in the future?
Thanks. And the guidelines were actually released in February, and they were based purely on the native distribution side or native ad formats. And they've very much been welcomed by the industry in the UK because they help to bring clarity and consistency to the advertising. And the feedback we've had is that anything lays out practical steps to making ads transparent and enhancing trust are definitely a good thing. It's also a good sign that we've been asked to produce further guidelines on the content marketing side, for example, sponsorships, and it's currently under construction and will be due out soon.
Thank you, that's super. So, thanks so much for everybody for their participation today. I hope you've enjoyed the seminar. I think that the examples that we've had have really shown us how different stakeholders within the industry need to take to research projects such as this to follow up on the learnings and outputs. And thanks for your time to all of the presenters in helping us with that today. Make sure also that you register for our upcoming Road to Programmatic webinars, which you can see on the screen there, coming up on the 8th and 20th of October. And also, when you exit from this session, you'll see a survey which you'll be able to give us some feedback on if you have time. So thanks again to today's presenters and to our audience for their participation. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.